earliest memories of hearing about God is probably when I was about 8 years old. My family, we used to go to church together in Michigan. One of the things that I remember is being intrigued by the baptistry, and I remember that my mom put me in fancy dresses that were really itchy, so I remember that part really well. I also remember how much I enjoyed Vacation Bible School and went to as many Vacation Bible Schools as I could. Different families in the neighborhood went to different churches, and so I would go with them when they had their Vacation Bible School, so I remember that. I really enjoyed that. When I was in Arkansas, my Grandma Vicki and my Aunt Marie always made sure that every Wednesday and every Sunday that I was at the Algoa Church of Christ. My experience of being saved was as an adult. Dennis and myself had moved to Arkansas in 2001. My dad had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and we relocated our family in order to have more time with him and in order to help my mom to care for him. We attended many churches, and after a while, my daughter Caitlin was invited to Remmel Church by some friends at school. That was in 2005, and we've been here ever since. Caitlin and myself were baptized by Lou Butterfield on her birthday in our pool with family and friends in attendance. Someone that's been a significant spiritual influence in my life was Lou Butterfield. I had heard many sermons in my 40-plus years when I arrived at the Remmel Church, but I don't remember hearing one that made me feel like they were speaking directly to me. And what I heard him saying to me was, "You're never going to be ready. You're never going to be good enough. And we're all the same." And that I was worthy. So with that understanding, I accepted Jesus into my heart and I was baptized. And I cannot begin to tell you how much myself and my family have been blessed by knowing him. And I miss that relationship very much. One major experience that I've had for my relationship with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit was when I was going through a time of stress that I don't completely understand. I do not know what the trigger was for sure. I was relatively fine during the day and around other people, but if I was alone or it was time to sleep, go to bed, I was overcome with inexplicable fear. I would lay in bed and I would say the Lord's Prayer over and over again until I could finally calm myself and go to sleep. Every sound seemed amplified, mysterious, and frightening. I was scared. This lasted for well over a week, and at that point I remember like I was awake all night, just scared and listening, and I didn't understand any of it. I had theories about what was happening, and I became really worried that I was having some kind of a breakdown. I was only able to move past that fear by the grace of God. What finally brought me out of that fear is that one evening when I lay down and I was saying the Lord's Prayer over and over, I heard a noise and my heart just started racing. I just cried out, "Jesus, Jesus." And within a few seconds, I just remember like a warm feeling coming over me like a blanket. And I became calm and I wasn't afraid anymore. It gave me peace. And I knew that that was the Holy Spirit. And the fear was gone and I slept. And that experience confirmed something in me that I thought I believed, but now I know I believe. John 14:27. "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Not as the world gives do I give it to you. Let your heart not be troubled, and neither let it be afraid." If I could share only one thing about my faith with others, it would be that the fellowship and the relationships that God has allowed me to experience brings me joy. There's a difference between joy and happiness. Happiness is often a fleeting emotion. I feel like joy is a long-lasting state of being, and I believe that joy can only be obtained when God is involved. And I'm thankful for these blessings. My name is Sandy Hollenback, and this is Why I Believe.
My earliest memories of hearing about God would be with my grandmother. Small child, 4, 5, 6. I would go to the Air Base church with her and my great-grandmother. I remember they always made me sit, pay attention, be still. But I remember listening to them sing hymns. And to this day, you take an Air Base Church of Christ hymnal, I can probably sing you any hymn in it. And I can hear my grandmother and great-grandmother singing these songs to me, which is funny when you get to know my story, because I wasn't saved until I was 25, 26. But I still remember that little seed that they had put in my life at a very, very young age. I had moved down south with my job, moved away from here, born and raised here in Newport, moved down south 4.5 hours. I worked a couple of years. There's a guy I worked with, and I don't know if it was a bet or what it was, but he had to do something for me, and then in return, he wanted me to go to church with him and his wife. And I had already met my now wife. I knew she went to the church and her family. So he did whatever it was for me. I had no idea what it was. And then so I went to church, to this church, the LVA in Lake Village. And for whatever reason, it was God, but at the time, I had no idea. I stuck around and kept coming back and kept going Sunday and Wednesday. It was a Sunday morning. Can't tell you the song, can't tell you the date. I was 3-4 rows back on the left side of the church. They were playing a song, and I felt like it was me and nobody else was in the place, and it was me. And I didn't see God, I didn't hear God, but I felt God, and it felt like a blanket come over me. It's the first time I had felt it in my life, and I knew right then I had a relationship with somebody that was way beyond any human I had ever encountered or dealt with. That's when my life would be changed. There have been a lot of significant spiritual influences. A lot of them are from down south. Obviously my grandmother and great-grandmother from when I was a child. And there's a guy named several down south, Andrew Vaughn, Tyler Finley, Marty Tackett. But the two I'll talk about is Dale Scribner and David Dotson. So when I got saved, and even before I got saved, they were, I guess, pushing me along that way. And they showed me what it was to be a Christian. They didn't teach me the Bible. They didn't teach me scriptures. They literally were the hands and feet of Jesus here. They helped me get involved with John 3:16, which they were heavily involved with. The epitome of a servant and worker for the Lord. And they just showed me that. They loved me. And now we're guys. We picked and fought and poked and prodded, but I knew they loved me. And they loved me regardless of where I came from, where I'd been, what I was going through. And I guess they could see something in me that I couldn't see in myself. And so they were hugely instrumental in my early stages of being a Christian, in my early stages of my walk. One major thing that I've experienced with God is how to treat people, how to be kind, how to be a friend, you can live this life in this world and love people unconditionally, regardless of what they are. And the more you hang around Christians and like-minded believers, the more you see that it's not all about coming to church, which is great. It's not all about studying your word all the time or knowing the entire Bible. It is about how you treat people, how you affect people's lives, the seeds you drop off along the way, and whether that be with a stranger, with somebody that's to the world standards not a good person, or it be with your neighbor, somebody you like, your family, your friends. If I could share only one thing about my faith, it would be that it is okay to be where you're at. As a new Christian, I thought that I had to know the entire Bible, that I had to know all the parables and hear from God all the time, or know the songs at church, or sing. You don't have to know that. You're not, as a 5-day Christian, going to be as far in your walk as a 5-month, 5-year, or 50-year Christian if you ever get to meet one of them. And it is okay. You do not have to have it all figured out. Matter of fact, I've not found anybody that has it all figured out. And that's probably the greatest thing I can pass along to somebody, that people have taught me. It's okay. Just start. All you have to do is know Jesus. If you know Jesus, you know the perfect one. Just follow him. Just do what he says. Listen to him. Walk with him. He'll take care of everything else. You don't have to worry about any of the rest of it. Simply put your head down and follow Jesus. My name is Bryson Schulz, and this is Why I Believe.